All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and cut through the absolute mountain of rumors surrounding Microsoft's highly anticipated next operating system, Windows 12. If you follow tech at all, you know the internet is totally buzzing right now with speculation, leaked code names, and some pretty wild hardware claims. So today, we're stripping away the noise. We're looking strictly at the source reports and the underlying code to figure out exactly what's fact and what's pure fiction. We really want to answer the big question. Is this just a minor developer update, or are we looking at a massive generational leap, kind of like jumping from Windows 8 to Windows 10? Let's find out. Now, I know you've probably seen those viral headlines popping up predicting a massive Windows 12 launch this exact year. So the absolute biggest question on everyone's mind is, are we about to be forced into a frantic ecosystem-wide migration right now?
Well, the short definitive answer is no. Actually, it's pretty ironic. A lot of those rumors about an AI-powered operating system dropping immediately were driven by AI-hallucinated fake news and mistranslated reports that just spread like wildfire. Microsoft execs have officially confirmed they have absolutely no plans to release Windows 12 this year, which, let's be honest, is a massive sigh of relief for enterprise IT departments trying to avoid a crazy, disruptive end-of-life timer for Windows 11.
So what's happening instead? Well, rather than shoving a brand new OS out the door right now, Microsoft is dedicating 2026 to a huge internal initiative codenamed Project K2. Basically, this is a massive quality and performance offensive for Windows 11, arriving as the 26H2 update. You can think of it as the spiritual successor to Windows XP's legendary Service Pack 2. Rather than forcing unfinished AI features down our throats, they're taking the time to clean house. They're ditching those sluggish web-based frameworks, the code that makes certain menus feel slow and laggy, and they're rebuilding core UI elements natively. It's essentially a much-needed foundation repair to make the system we already have dramatically more responsive.
Okay, so when is it actually coming? If we look at the chronological roadmap, the highly probable launch window for Windows 12 anchors on late 2027. Why then? Because it aligns perfectly with the critical October 2025 expiration date of Windows 10. Plus, this timeline actually completely respects Microsoft's historical 6-year development cadence. That's the exact same gap we saw between Windows 10 in 2015 and Windows 11 in 2021. Releasing in late 2027 gives businesses a vital, commercially viable window to actually plan their hardware cycles without hitting the panic button.
Now, looking under the hood, we're seeing a major shift to a new architecture called Core PC. And this completely answers that earlier question we had. Windows 12 is absolutely not just a beta update or a quick facelift. No way. This is a massive generational upgrade. We are talking about a foundational leap here, totally comparable to the massive shift from Windows 8 to Windows 10. Core PC represents a fundamental, ground-up redesign of how the entire operating system actually functions at its deepest levels. To really put that in perspective, Windows 11 is built on a static, monolithic foundation. Core PC, on the other hand, is highly modular. It uses something developers call state separation containers. Think of it like a giant ship built with watertight compartments. If one app or process suddenly crashes, the whole ship doesn't go down. The core system files are entirely walled off from your user data and any third-party apps. This means incredibly fast updates, zero system rot over time, and an OS that scales perfectly whether you're on a lightweight tablet or an absolute beast of a gaming rig. And here is where it gets super fascinating. Traces of this next-generation system, which goes by the internal code name Hudson Valley Next, are actually hiding in plain sight. If you dig into the recent insider developer builds like build 29558, you'll actually see the shell compatibility version jumping straight to version 12. We're seeing entirely new generations of search libraries and completely fresh resource packages. The actual DNA of Windows 12 is being compiled and secretly tested by developers right now. But hey, let's step away from the underlying code for a second and talk about what this means for you. What are the specific, cutting-edge, user-facing features that will make upgrading from Windows 10 or 11 absolutely worth your hard-earned money? Well, Microsoft is aiming to completely redefine how we interact with our computers. They're transitioning AI from being just a cute optional add-on to literally becoming the beating heart of the whole platform.
The absolute star of the show here is something called agentic AI.
Now, this isn't just a basic chatbot sitting in a sidebar waiting for you to type a prompt. Agentic AI is deeply integrated into the OS to proactively automate your tasks and manage your system resources. Imagine opening your laptop on a Tuesday morning, right? The system already knows your specific routine. It automatically turns on Do Not Disturb, launches the exact spreadsheets you need, and intelligently organizes your desktop based on the project you were struggling with the night before. It's essentially working tirelessly behind the scenes as your very own personal IT manager. And for the gamers and creators out there, you are getting a massive visual and performance overhaul too. We're talking about dynamic parallax live wallpapers that actually react to the physical lighting in your room. Plus, DirectX 13 is coming, which is going to offer near console-level gaming optimization directly on your PC. Throw in a sleek new floating taskbar, lightning-fast direct storage tech for practically zero load times, and AI-based real-time threat detection, and you are looking at an incredibly robust, visually stunning daily driver.
But, and this is a big but, all of this incredible next-generation capability comes with a major catch. There is a very strict new hardware barrier, and you need to be intensely aware of this before you even think about your next purchase. Because Windows 12 is fundamentally built around agentic AI and that highly isolated modular architecture, upgrading is going to be a much steeper hurdle than the whole TPM 2.0 requirement ever was for Windows 11.
First off, legacy spinning hard drives are officially dead as boot media, and SSD is absolutely mandatory going forward. On top of that, while 8 gigabytes of RAM might technically get the machine to turn on, 16 gigabytes is going to be the absolute baseline sweet spot if you want to handle those heavy on-device AI tasks without totally bottlenecking your system. You'll also need a DirectX 12 compatible GPU, but the real game changer, the absolute non-negotiable requirement for a dedicated neural processing unit, or NPO. Now, you are going to hear the acronym TOPS a lot over the next few years. It stands for Trillion Operations Per Second, and 40 is the magic number here. Basically, that number represents the sheer mathematical muscle your computer needs to run complex AI models locally on the machine, rather than sitting there lagging while waiting for a cloud server to process your requests over the internet. So, if you're shopping for a new computer anytime soon, 40 TOPS is the exact metric you must look for on the spec sheet. Microsoft has made it incredibly clear. To earn their premium Copilot Plus PC designation and actually unlock these advanced on-device generative AI features, your system must feature hardware capable of executing at least 40 TOPS. Without a dedicated NPU meeting this massive threshold, you simply won't be able to run these advanced agentic workflows natively. If you tried to push that kind of math through a standard processor, your computer would literally overheat and grind to a complete halt. Microsoft is drawing a firm line in the sand here to make sure the hardware can actually handle this demanding new software. So, taking all of this into consideration, what's the verdict? Should you rush out and upgrade right now? Well, everyday users and IT professionals really need to strategically plan their upgrades. Because Microsoft is taking the time to polish Windows 11 with Project K2 through 2026, you actually have a very clear multi-year runway. This gives you ample time to assess your current hardware fleet before this massive paradigm shift drops in late 2027.
Look, if you're buying a laptop today, you can't just look at the processor speed anymore. You have to ensure it's a fully AI-ready device with a powerful NPU and a lightning-fast SSD. Which leaves us with one critical thought for you to take away from this explainer today. When this highly isolated agentic AI revolution of Windows 12 finally arrives, will your next machine be ready to power it, or will you be left stuck in the past?